I'm not sure if you can hear my wash in the background, but this video not gonna have any music, so we'll let the washer kind of be like a little sound effect slash music for this video. But in this video, we're about 3 weeks into 2024, at least at the recording of this video. So we're going to kind of talk about like how to really make 2024 an amazing year and kind of where you're at right now, what adjustments you need to make and everything you need to do to really, really crush it, not just as a visual artist, but just like in life, period. So with that being said, we're going to kind of like jump straight into it. Starting off, I just want you to ask one question. And you may be painting right now, creating artwork. Take a moment to really ask yourself this question. Are you the same person that you were leaving out of 2023 coming into 2024? Are you that same person? And that's a very important question you want to ask, because most likely if you hear you're still not where you want to be in life. And what I learned is that making small adjustments to get to where you want to be usually really, 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 really prolong that process, or it just don't allow you to get there at all. So what do you like need to do? Like what needs to happen? In reality, there needs to be a complete 360 in your life. Like the person you were in 2023 have to become an entire different person in 2024. You see, the way life works is that the circumstances that you're in currently is 100% based off of the decisions that you've made and the actions that you took based on those decisions. So if we want a huge change, like I'm talking about like really, really crazy change going into 2024, which we already here, we need to completely change who we are. Think of it like this. If I have a goal to go from making $0 per month in my art career to 10,000 per month in my art career, that's a huge, huge change in income. In order to make such a huge change in income, it's only right that you have to make a huge change as an individual, because you have to become a person that's worthy of 10,000 per month. And I'm gonna talk about all this stuff in detail, but first I just want to get like the overall concept to you. So I really want you to think about that, right? Like you have to make a huge change within yourself if you want your circumstances and the surroundings that you're living in to change. It's that simple. Like I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna tell us a story. So a lot of artists are aware of this. In 2015, I was attending the Kansas City Art Institute, and then that's when I left the art school. I dropped out thinking like, you know what? I want to be the guy that changed the art space. I want to help artists actually study artwork independently. And what happens is I always talk about how I spent 4 years, 4.5 years studying on how to sell artwork, how to become great at selling artwork, how to help artists crush it, in hopes that at some point I get my chance and I gain enough knowledge to help artists really, really change their lives. Now, while that story is accurate as it could be, it's not the like whole and full transparent truth. So I'm gonna tell you something. Here's the reality. From 2015 up until 2019, that was going on. I was working a job, and every single day I go to work, I come home and I study how to sell artwork. I study like what it take to become a successful artist. But what I realized, I was making like these very small adjustments in my education, in my process, and what I was learning. Like every day I learned a little bit and a little more and a little more and a little more and a little more. And then it didn't get to the point where it was like end of 2018 coming into 2019. I ended up meeting a mentor, guy named Sam. And when I met this guy, really, 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 really successful guy, like I'm talking about work maybe 40 million, pretty much doing some great things. Young guy, by the way, maybe 31, 32. And then that's when he told me, he says, here's the thing. The circumstances that you're currently in is based off the actions that you've taken and the decisions that you made. If you really, really want to change your entire situation, you need to change your entire self from start to finish. Like everything about you needs to change. Like you can't improve, you need to actually change. So then I asked myself, like, what change actually looked like? And that's when I started focusing on change. But here's the crazy part. In this process, and this is how crazy it get, from 2015 to 2019, I took like very little, I guess you could say, improvements in my life, right? Once 2019 got here, 2019, that 1 year, I went from sleeping on the floor, trying to figure out how to help artists sell artwork, to working with over 100 artists and having some of the most craziest results in that 1 year. That 1 year, we had artists like one of the artists that are pretty known at this point is Louise McNutt, who in her first 2 months did 36,000 in art sales and wrapped up that year doing, I think it was like 130,000 in 10 months. That's not met artists like Danielle Brown, who right out the gate started crushing it, and a couple other like really, really talented artists. But in 1 year, literally everything changed. And the reality is, it didn't take me 4 years to get to this point. It took 1 year. It took 3 other years of trial and error, but it took 1 year for me to actually get success or find success. I work towards success, however you want to call it. So what am I saying here? In 1 year, you could literally change your entire circumstance in just 1 year. I don't know if you can hear, but my washer's starting to like transition. That's going to be the music for this video. But what I want to do in this video is I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to change your entire circumstance from start to finish. I'm going to break down step by step how you should view your life, how you should view this year, how you should go about taking action, and what you should do to crush it. Now, there's going to be two type of excuse me. There's going to be two type of artists that's going to watch this video. There's going to be the spectators, and that's going to be the action takers. The spectators and the action takers. I'm explaining both. The spectator is going to be that artist that's going to watch this video and think like, holy shit, that's some good information. Like, I'm learning so much from this guy, right? I'm gaining so much, and this is some good stuff. And then after you watch this video, you're going to go put on another video and another video and another video, and then you're going to get tired of watching videos. And you're going to go back to your day, probably going to go on Instagram, scroll a bit, and you're not going to take any action. That's the reality. The reality is that's going to be about 85 to 90% of the people that watch this video. By the way, 90%, that's 9 out of 10 people that watch this video is going to do that. Now, the action takers, on the other hand, the action takers are on this video right now with pen and paper ready to take notes and take action. So once this video ends, they doing the things I'm going to say in this video. They following those things. They've been consistent with those things. And then they're going to check their results in about a week to see how much progress they made. I'm putting this on the forefront now so you could be that action taker. So you could be the one that's having results in the next 7 days. And results not always monetary. It's not about how much money you make. It's about like how much you've grown. Right? So that being said, we're gonna kind of like get straight into it. I got some notes here, by the way, that I'm gonna make sure just to make sure I'm on track with everything. And we're gonna get straight into it. So first thing first, I want you to ask yourself like who you need to become. Like if you really want to succeed, who do you need to become? Let's just, for the sake of this video, we're going to set the goal at 10,000. I know some artists may feel like 10,000 is a crazy number. Some artists may feel like 10,000 should be the bare minimum. But just for the sake of the video, we're going to set the goal at 10,000 per month. Who do you need to become? Like really sit and ask yourself with pen and paper, who do you need to become? Somebody that's worthy. Not just earn 10,000. Somebody that's worthy of 10,000. What do they look like? How are they currently applying themselves to succeed in this world? And when I say worthy of 10,000, that means like deserving of 10,000, right? And this is very, very important. So what I want you to take the time out to ask yourself is like, who do you need to become? And who do you need to become usually leads to a series of micro questions. These micro questions may be like, what time you need to be waking up? What time you need to be waking up? What should your day look like? What should you be focusing on? And I'm gonna talk about some of these things in this video, but these are some of the questions you want to ask. What should you be focusing on? Who you should be spending your time with? How do you value your time? What's important to you? What are you passionate about? These are the questions you want to ask yourself because these are the questions that transition people actions, right? Now, once you ask those questions and answer those questions, here's where it gets really important. Going back to my mentor, Sam, from 2019, he says, here's the thing. People are successful, usually really good at two things. There's only two things that make someone successful. And the two things is, one, the ability to sacrifice. And then two, the ability to be disciplined. That's it. If you're willing to sacrifice and be disciplined, you will have no choice but to succeed. So let's talk about this. What I want you to do, this is the beginning of 2024. I want you to list out all the things that you feel have distracted you in 2023. And by the way, let's get crystal clear on what's a distraction. A distraction is anything that's not dealing with life or debt that you're, I guess you could say, like giving yourself to that's not moving you towards the goal. I give an example. Going on that weekend is not a life or debt action, right? And it's not moving you towards your goal. In that case, it's distraction, right? Going get something to eat and having lunch. Obviously, you need lunch to survive. You have to eat. So at that point, that's a direct impact on your health. So yes, you should be doing it. Now, people like to fall into this like fine line between like what's a sacrifice towards their goals and what's not. Like people say, "Oh, I just have to do yoga," right? I have to do yoga because it's my health and my health is so important. You don't have to do yoga. No, you choose to do yoga. You'll find a lot of fulfillment from yoga. Can you sacrifice yoga? You absolutely can. Like it won't be a life or death situation. Now, am I saying sacrifice yoga? That's not for me. That's not a decision for me to make for you. That's for you to make. But what I really want you to do at this point is really, really sit down and ask yourself, what should you be sacrificing? And if you don't know what you should sacrifice, ask yourself, what, make a list of all the things that you enjoyed or done in 2023 that didn't move you closer to your goal. This could be as simple as having hour-long phone conversations with your friends. That should be, and that's time you'll be dedicating to your art career. Or it'll be as complex as going to a huge party for some type of celebration. Now, here's what, once again, you're going to think certain sacrifices are very important to your life, but it's really, really not. Like, I give an example. Your friend birthday party. Should you be there? Maybe so. Is it life or death thing? No, it's not. Should you probably dedicate that time to your art career? Depends on how important your art career is to you. Now, I hope you understand that in this video, I want you to make the decisions for yourself. I want you to make the sacrifices for yourself. But I want you to really, really sit, like really take the time. Once again, if you're the action taker, right? If you're the action taker, I want you to really sit, take the time and ask yourself, like, what do I need to be sacrificing? And come crystal clear, like what I need to sacrifice. What actions are I'm taking that are not moving me closer to my art career, to my goal? Second, you have to become disciplined. And here's the cheat code of being disciplined. I learned this once again from my mentor, Sam. If you really, 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 really want to be disciplined, all you have to do, if you have to remove the distractions. I give an example. So a lot of artists I work with, they see my life, they know me really, really well, and they like to say, "Hey, Gerard, oh my God, you're like so disciplined, it's so crazy. You get stuff done, you work so hard." But the reality is I'm no one special. The only thing that I've done is I completely, like just completely remove the distractions. So for example, let's say I no longer want to eat snacks. I don't try to be disciplined and keep myself from going to the fridge or going to my pantry and not eat snacks. I just remove the snacks completely from my house. Like I remove all snacks completely out of my house. Now I remove the distractions, so I have no choice but to be disciplined. This actually the real reason why I ended up moving to Houston. So when I was living in New Orleans, Louisiana, what happened was I was surrounded by a lot of my family and friends and associates, and it was just everyone I grew up with. So it'd be hard for me to like stay focused and just work every single day. Cause I have a friend just show up in my house. He's like, "Dude, we all doing this weekend. You should definitely come. Come on." I have a friend like say, "Hey, let's take the motorcycles out." And I know I love riding motorcycles. So I'd be like, let me just finish up this work and yep, I'm gonna be there. My mom, I remember one time I was on a meeting like with my clients, the artists I work with. It was like 30 artists on this meeting. It was a Q&A call. And my mom and brother and nephews randomly show up to my house, like very randomly. Show up to my house, like, "Hey, I know you've been in this house all day. We thought it'd be cool if we pop up and just like hang out with you for a little bit." Now they didn't know I was in like a business meeting, right? They were just trying to help me out. They were trying to like, just get me to loosen up a little bit, have a little fun. But it was those distractions that were slowing me down. So what I decided to do, I removed the distraction by moving 500, 600 miles away from all family and friends. Now, some people may say like this is a little bit ludicrous, and it may be, but once again, it comes down to like how bad do you really want it? And when I realized like a lot of artists say I'm 1,000% in, but they really, really not. Like you really not 1,000% in. You gotta ask yourself like, what it look like to be 1,000% in? Painting 8 hours a day do not make you 1,000% in. Because the reality is painting is what you enjoy. You're gonna paint regardless. That's your hobby. That's like somebody that was going to play basketball in their free time and they go play basketball for 10 hours out the day. That's not showing a work ethic and commitment because that's what you're passionate about. But once again, we're going to even talk about that as well. But now that you understand, like, one, you have to sacrifice, and two, sacrifice, ask yourself, like, what actions are you currently taking that's not moving you towards what you want to achieve in this world? And then remove those actions, period. And then be disciplined. Notice the things that are distracting you and completely remove them. Don't try to avoid them, remove them. That's just what you have to do. Like if you really, really want to succeed. And I'm gonna be very transparent and it's gonna get a bit like rootless here. Growing up, what allowed me to really succeed is I sacrificed all of my friends. Like all of them. I had a conversation with my friends and I say, hey, I no longer be in a circumstance I'm currently in. So you guys not going to see me for a while because I want to build a better future for myself. And I also told my friends like, hey, if you're a true, true friend of mine, I expect you like to still be here once it's all said and done. If you feel like what I'm doing is not like friend like, then I guess we won't be friends anymore. But I understand like that's something very important in my life that I have to do and I have to chase. And it's going to require me to like sacrifice the time and fun that I have with you guys. Out of all my friends, I had two friends that stayed because I wasn't talking to my friends for about 2.5 to 3 years, which is a long time. The rest of my friends, they're like, dude, we're not friends anymore. You're not a real friend. Two of them said, I totally get what you're doing. Go after it. I'm going to be here, bro. Let me know if you need me. And we still friends to this day. But what I'm saying is you have to sacrifice, right? Second, you have to be disciplined, which means you have to remove those distractions. That could be friends, that could be hobbies, that could be fun time. You have to remove those distractions. And if somebody says like, oh my God, I just have to do this, so it clears my mind, it frees my mind, that's just something you tell yourself. But that's not the reality. That's not. So let's move forward. Next, if you really, really, really want to crush it, like really want to crush it, you need to understand what crushing it actually look like. I kind of like already touched on this, but I'm gonna get into like the nitty gritty when it comes to like actually crushing it, right? So there's two different things. There's moving forward, and I want you to really understand this. There's moving forward, and then there's running in place. A lot of artists are running in place. And when I say a lot, I'm talking about like 95% are running in place. What running in place look like? Running in place look like you painting 8, 9, 10 hours a day, every single day, working on these beautiful art pieces. And now at the end of the week, you've painted for 50, 60, 70 hours. And now you think you're a hardworking artist because you painted a lot. And in reality, you just running in place, right? Because you're doing a lot of work, but it's not going to lead to you having a lot of success as a visual artist. So here's what I want you to do. Like if you really want to succeed in 2024, right? Because we don't have that much time left. We only have like 11 and a half months. Now you may think like that's a whole year, but 11 and a half months, when you think about like that, that's not that long. So here's what you need to do. If you want to like move forward, like you want to get off that treadmill and actually start like moving forward, what you need to do is you need to focus on the business side of your art career. What do I mean? You need to be focusing on the not so fun things. I talk about this stuff all the time. If you really want to change your art career, the not so fun things is understand like who your buyers are going to be, how to get exposure to those buyers, how to have conversation with those buyers, how to get them to purchase your artwork, how to turn buyers into long-term collectors. Those are the important things. Once you start, and here's the thing, I'm giving you all the secrets right here to if you really want to crush it. You're not in business until you start making sales. At that point, you just have like an expensive hobby. Like you're not actually in business as a visual artist until you start making sales. And why am I saying this? What I'm saying is to say, stop doing business stuff when you're not even in business yet. Like, get in business first. So let's talk about it. I talk to a lot of artists, and I see artists say like, "Hey, Droid, I'm about to get my LLC. I want to get me a CPA. I'm about to get me a beautiful website. I think I'm gonna go rent me out an office, and I want to do all these cool things. And those are the things you do like once you're in business. And then I always just say like, how many sales have you made so far? And then they'll say, oh, I haven't made any sales, but once I get all this stuff in place, then I'm gonna start selling my work. And if you ask any really, really successful person, they say, no, 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 that's the last thing you want to do. First, you want to make sales. Like, first, you have to have a business to protect that business. People are protecting a business that they don't have, and you don't want to do that. So, what am I saying? Make the sales first. Get your artwork in front of people first, and then get those people to purchase your artwork. Then, once they start purchasing, the next step is to actually get the business part in order. So that's getting people, I'm sorry, back up. Getting a business and artists, that's getting like a website, getting your LLC, focusing on taxes because now you're making money. So you're gonna get taxed on that. If you're a professional artist and a business person at that point. But that's second. Keep first thing first, like make sales, like give yourself a reason to have to go get an LLC and a business name and all that, and a business bank account and all this stuff. But until then, you need to be focused on making sales. Like you need to be focusing on bringing in income. That's first. That's first thing first. So what am I saying? Let's focus on moving forward. And moving forward is actually the marketing and the selling of your work. Get super active on social media. Like as active as possible. And every single person that engaged with your work, try to get into a conversation with them. If you just do those two things alone, you're going to see a huge, huge, huge improvement this year. Just that. Once you're in conversation with a lot of people, they're going to start purchasing. Once you start making some sales, now you're in business. So you need to go do the business stuff. Go ahead and set your business up properly. All right. Now, with that being said, if you really want to continue that success and really crush it, like I told you, I'm going to talk about a lot here. You have to become uncomfortable. You have to become uncomfortable. As long as you're comfortable, you're going to be trapped. I see artists all the time staying comfortable. And if you are comfortable, you will never succeed because comfort leads to I don't know the word I'm looking for. I guess it's like just being stagnant, right? I was gonna say stagnaticity. I got in a motorcycle accident recently and I broke my foot, some bad road rash, and it's probably starting like messing my brain. So the word of the day is gonna be stagnaticity, right? Stagnaticity. But seriously, if you like, if you really want to succeed, you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's such a cliche saying, but it's such a very, very real saying. And what do I mean by being comfortable with being uncomfortable? Is making a tough decisions and taking a tough actions. So many artists say how bad they want to succeed and how hard they're willing to work and what they're willing to do and they 1000% in. But as soon as they have to make a tough decision, everything comes to a halt. They cannot make a tough decision to save their life. Or they stay comfortable. They stay in a comfortable spot. Like you have to become really comfortable with being uncomfortable. My first time becoming like really, really, really uncomfortable is when my business was having some type of success. We was working with a few hundred artists at this point. Things was going really, really well. And then I was this mastermind opportunity. A spot opened up that I've been looking at. And I didn't know how much the mastermind cost. I was doing pretty decent at this point. This was in early 2021. I'm doing pretty decent at this point. Things are going great. And then I contacted the company that had the mastermind. I knew some people that was in it that was doing really well. And I contacted them and we was talking. I asked him like how much it costs to join. And I remember on that call, he told me the investment to join this mastermind is $36,000. I'm like, dude, like how much? He's like 36,000. And I'm like, ain't no freaking way I could spend 36,000. And the reason I told myself this in my head is it wasn't because I didn't have 36,000 to spend. The business was doing well. I did have the funds, but I never spent this amount before in my life ever. Not even close to this amount. Like even on investing, because this was an investment at this point. This was me bettering my information, my training, learning as much as I can for my artist. I'm like, I couldn't fathom spending this amount of money just on one thing. And then that's when I had a conversation with my mentor once again. And then that's when he told me, it's like, dude, once again, if you want to succeed, you have to do those uncomfortable things. You have to make the big decisions. You have to make change. And I realized this was at a point of time when I really had to make change. I realized the person I was before and the person who I needed to become to join this mastermind was two completely different people. The person I was before was uncomfortable spending anything past 5,000 on one single thing for education. The person I needed to become had to be someone who's completely comfortable spending 36,000 on one single thing for education. And then at that moment, it hit me because my mentor said something I never forget. He says, "Here's the thing: if you face with a decision, and that decision do not put fear in your heart and make you very nervous, it's not a big enough decision. It's not a life-changing opportunity." And that made me think. And then he followed that by then saying, "Here's the thing: once again, you have to make change within yourself to make the big decisions, to make big change within your life." And it was at that moment I realized, like, it's time for me to become a new version, not a more improved version, a brand new version of myself. And then that's when I made that investment. After I made that investment that year, like 2021, literally changed the entire business we had, like completely. I think that was like 2021 going into 2022. So like 2021, 2022, everything changed. Like we went from working with like, let's say 100 artists or so at this point, 150 artists, give or take, someone in this ballpark, to working with like 500, 600 artists. And it was just insane. We went from artists making 10,000 a month, 8,000 a month, which was fantastic, to we started having artists doing 60,000 months, 70,000 months. And I realized like it wasn't the investment I made. Like that's the education that got me there, but it was who I became that changed everything. Like who I became in that moment when I made that investment changed everything. It changed my entire trajectory. And then that's what allowed me to have that success. So I'm gonna tell you this, like I had an interview I did with an artist named Tasani. By the way, like if you haven't seen this interview, you should definitely watch it. Like at the end of this video, I'll post it like somewhere. But in this interview, Tasani shared like her story on how she became successful as a visual artist. Tasani met me about 2.5 years ago. And here's the thing: in the first year and a half, really like in the first 2 years of meeting me, Tasani had like these little successes here and there. 3,000 month, 1,500, 5,000, 3,000, 1,500. Some months 300, right? When she first met me, she was doing like zero. So she went from zero to having 3,000 on average a month. Nothing really crazy, but she was seeing some success. In the interview, she talked about how like she just had this thing that clicked off in her head, and she decided like things just completely need to change, not improve, completely need to change. And she sat with herself. She asked herself like, what change would look like? Once again, we're not talking about improvement. We're talking about becoming an entire new version of yourself. And then once she made that change, she went to start having 9,000 months. She started making sales really, really consistently. She started selling artworks at much, much higher prices, like 4,000, 4,800 for a single piece, 5,500 for a single piece. And that's because she changed. So I know that you're getting pretty carried away. What am I saying here? I'm saying if you really, really want to succeed in 2024, stop improving and become an entire new version of yourself. Ask yourself what that new version look like. And then once you figure out who that new version is, you have to sacrifice. That's first. You have to become disciplined. So sacrifice all the things that are not going to get you to your goal as quickly as you'd like to get there. Become disciplined. To become disciplined, just simply remove all the distractions. It's that simple. Once you become disciplined and you sacrifice, you then want to start moving forward and stop running in place. Moving forward is focusing on the things that's going to actually get your business to where you want it to be. That's simple. That's going to be marketing and sales. It's usually come down to those things. Marketing, by the way, it's not like a complicated word. All marketing is figuring out how to get the right people seeing your artwork. Just use social media. On social media, try to get as much engagement as possible and have conversations to try to land sales. and start making the uncomfortable decisions and start taking uncomfortable actions. If it's something that you're uncomfortable with, you should step into it 10 times more and really, really, really do it at that point. Because it's going to be you becoming uncomfortable that's going to allow you to get to where you want to go. It's probably late for me to be saying this, but if you don't know who I am, my name is Gerard Henry. I'm the founder of Artist Rise. And in the last few years, we helped a lot of artists. I'm very, very proud to say that we at almost 900 paid artists in our program is becoming a movement. So huge shout outs like the Risers. And if you like this video, definitely comment below and let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this. Just very, very, I guess you could say personal videos. And on this channel, I'm gonna start sharing like our entire process. I want to start even getting up to posting a video a day, which is crazy. We're gonna stick to 2 a week for now, but we want to get to like posting a video a day. With that being said, watch the interview with Tasani. I'm gonna post it like somewhere around here, and then I'll be seeing you on the next video. Peace.